that okay, or does your stomach hurt? Do you want to be our pointer? Okay, coming up and be our pointer for us. Today we're going to read the choice together. The words are a little bit smaller because I extended the page. Can everybody thumbs up if you can see it okay? I just want to make sure. Yeah, I think it'll be all right. Just look real close. And as you read, try and read with expression like we talked about yesterday. Ready? Read.
The choice. The familiar giggles rang like a hollow bell as I sauntered to my seat in the cafeteria. I could already hear the unkind words. Did you hear her stutter when Miss Jackson asked that question in class? One boy whispered, I think she's been wearing those same shoes all week, Melissa remarked conceitedly. I knew immediately who they were talking about. She was new to our school and had made no friends. She sat alone at the table next to ours. Well, I thought to myself, she can have at least one friend.
Oh. Every time I read that, it just warms my heart. It makes me want to be like that for someone else. All right, today with our shared reading, we're going to do something that we've never done before. I think you're really going to like it, and it comes at a really good time because we're going to be CRT testing tomorrow, and this is great practice. So what I'm going to give you is a piece of paper, and it looks like this. Okay? So on this piece of paper, there's going to be a question, and then there's going to be some different choices. I'm going to look at the first one with you, and then you're going to be able to try the next 5 with a partner. After you've worked with that partner and you've tried to figure it out, we'll go over them and see if you got the right answers. Okay? So let's look at number 1. It says, after reading this passage, has you ever heard that word before, passage?
Passageway.
We think of a passageway like a hallway, right? Like a corridor or a hallway. So think about it this way. After reading this hallway, you can infer that. Does that sound right?
No.
So could there be a different meaning for passage?
Yes.
What do we call a word that has 2 different meanings? We've got a word wall up there we just started learning on. Samuel?
I think it's like
Emmanuel, you know.
like no and no.
Look up there.
Is
A word that has 2 different meanings.
You
want to ask for it? Homophones, or like a homonym. So that word passage can also mean something different. Okay, so let's read it again. What do you think it might mean? After reading this passage, you can infer that. Okay, so what does that word passage mean? What do you think? Whisper to the person next to you.
like a question, like what they're telling you.
3, 2, 1, eyes back on me. Okay, what does that word passage mean? After reading this passage, can't be a hallway. Jade, what might it mean?
Maybe the thing that it's saying, like the words, the story that it's saying.
Yeah, absolutely. After reading this story, after reading this chapter, these words, after reading this passage, point to the passage. This is the passage. Okay, good. After reading this passage, after reading all those words, you can infer that A, the girl sits with her friends. Okay, so we've got this girl. Here's our girl. She goes over and sits with her friends, the ones that are whispering. That's the first thing. So when we get to the end, do we think, yep, she's going to go over and sit with her friends, maybe gossip too. B, the girl goes home and tells her mom what happened. Is that what you think happened next? C, the girl tells a teacher. Or D, the girl sits with the next student. Sits with the new, sorry, that probably should have said new, with the new student. Okay, so I want you to show me on your fingers. 1 would be A, the girl sits with her friend. 2 would be B. The girl goes home and tells her mom what happened. C, the girl tells a teacher. Or D would be 4 fingers. The girl sits with the new student. Show me which one you think it might be. Ready? The correct answer is ding, ding, ding.
Yay!
D. Good. Yeah, when we get to the end, well, she can have at least one friend. That makes me think she's probably going to go up to that girl and be a friend to her. So this is what I would do. Now, these ones don't have circles around them, but on the test you take tomorrow, you're going to see a D or a letter, and it's going to have a little circle around it. So right now we're going to practice. Instead of circling it really big or even circling it small, you're going to practice filling it in a little bubble like that. Thumbs up if that makes sense. Okay? You're going to go through those 4. Now, some of you are going to get, or those 5 questions. Some of you will get done quicker than others. Some of you might take 5 minutes, some of you might take 10, and that's okay. When you get finished, you're going to turn to the back of the page. Right now, I want everyone with your voices off to go to your desks, get a pencil and paper. Why? Sure.
Oh, sure. Yeah, you didn't have it either. Yeah, no problem.
Oh, boys and girls, you went so quietly, and now you're coming back quietly also. Thank you for being so respectful. Alan, will you go over by the clipboards for just a second? All right, so you're going to try the rest of these different, this will be the paper that you have. I'm going to put my smartboard to the story, so you can see the story up here and answer the questions on this paper, okay? Now here's what I want you to do if you get finished early. You know how we talk about above what's expected in math, writing down anything extra? Well, on the back side, you can do whatever you want to show me what you know. So here's an example. I might think, ooh, I see some indents in here. I see 1, 2, 3, 4 indents. So on the back of your paper, you could write 4 indents. Or you could show me what an indent looks like. 1, 2, 3, 4 indents. You might think, oh, I remember what conceitedly means. Write it on the back of your paper. I'm not telling you have to write about prefixes or nouns or verbs. You can write about whatever you want to, as long as it has to do with this passage. So you might look at a picture. I think the picture is telling me, write about the picture. Whatever you see here. Oh, I see some quotation marks. Interesting. Oh, I see some proper nouns. Anything you see up here, you can write about on the back when you're finished with the front. Does that make sense? Yeah. All right, here we go. Adeline's going to be over by the clipboard. I'm going to give one person a piece of paper, and I'm going to give the next person a point to the clipboard. They're going to get a clipboard, and then we're going to start practicing. So here we go. Amika gets a paper. Natalia, grab a clipboard. Who's your normal turn talk partner?
Natalia.
Okay, Natalia, grab a clipboard. Camila, use a paper. Viviana, grab a clipboard. You girls will be working. Oh, Adeline. So you 3 can work together. You 3 girls. Okay, I'm going to have you 3 boys work together. All right, so Michael, you grab a clipboard. Jade, will you grab a clipboard? Kimberly's going to get the paper. That's your partner, Genesis. Maria Clara, grab a clipboard. Okay, this will be perfect. Lucas, will you grab a clipboard for me? Go ahead and grab a clipboard. Emmanuel, you listen so well during the class. Ricky and Samuel, grab a clipboard. It's okay because it's different and some people are gone. This will be a perfect one today. All right, go ahead and start answering those questions. Just make sure you keep your voices off while others are learning. Alright, so when you go to
No, it's
I love that. Boys and girls, I wanted to share with you something that Genesis and Maria Claire did. Genesis filled in D for the first one. And then this is what she said. Now her turn, and she passed it to her partner. That's a great idea. That's a great way for both partners to be able to do both jobs as they work together. If you want to try that with your partner, go ahead.
So, what is the passage about the girl decide to do randomly to when others
you did your case one. So no. Melissa remarked try no. Melissa remarked wanting to be friends with that. Melissa remarked feeling that makes sense. Melissa remarked no, esa no estuvo en tuya justo. Melissa remarks proud of oneself. Melissa remarks I need help with the second one. Melissa remarks wanting to be because I told her so it's not a pose. Remember, there's no girls. But no, Melissa, no, what do you mean a girl? Solamente said they're talking about
Oh, let's see what people are going to do for a bubble. What's expected on the back?
When's the passion?
This one's hard, but we're just going to
It's okay. Sometimes I need Okay, so summary. Summary is like a recap. Remember, like somebody wanted but so then. So is that a summary of the story? No. I don't want to. I mean, no. Is there something that makes you say something else? Oh, it's fair. Simile. That's what you said, Michael. So go ahead and mark that one as verb.
We're taking turns.
This is like we're not All right, head back to your smart spots. If you haven't finished yet, it's okay. We do our best. We'll go through them as a class together. I think most people got most of this done. Head back to your smart spots as we look over this together. So if you're sitting against the wall, Viviana's turning her body back towards the smart board. I heard a lot of great questions. Some people were asking me about different words, what things meant. I could tell that you guys were really trying hard, and I love to see the things that you did above what's expected on. On the back, I see some adjectives. Oh, I see some people just writing over there. That looks great. Okay, so we already did number 1. Now, I had a really good question from Emmanuel. He said, Miss Randall, what does that line mean? Of course, that line's kind of strange. What is it doing there? What do you guys think? What is that line telling us? After reading this passage, you can infer that line. What does that line mean, Emmanuel?
You just told us you read the sentence, so you know what it means.
Mm-hmm. It's kind of like finishing the sentence. So they're giving you part of the sentence. Remember how we talked about a sentence when you hear a period, you say, guess what? Okay, so if I said, someone asked me, guess what? Or if I said, guess what?
What?
After reading this passage, you can infer that. Is that a sentence?
Infer that what?
No, infer that what? So these other choices are finishing that sentence. Okay? So that line shows you the sentence isn't done. You have to read these choices to finish the sentence. Does that kind of make sense? You're going to see a lot of lines on tests like this, and it's just finishing that sentence. Okay, so let's look at number 2. Why don't we read it together? Ready? Read.
Which definition of the underlined word conceitedly makes the most sense?
Whew, this is a good one. Now, this is just me, but I always go back to look at that word. Here it is. Here it is in my story. I always go back to look again. So what do you guys think? When you look through your choices, which one made the most sense? And let's read every single choice. So can someone read me choice A? What was choice A? Jade?
Feeling confused?
Okay, so I think she's been wearing those same shoes all week, Melissa remarked conceitedly. Does feeling confused make sense there? No, so we know it's not A. What did B say? What did B say, Julian? I think she's been wearing those same shoes all week. Does that make sense? Yes, so it's C. The correct answer is B. But I never want to answer a question that I haven't read all the choices to. So can we take a look at C and just make sure that it's not C? What did C say? Tap.
Because she is tired and do you write a star to get it right?
Sure, absolutely. You can give yourself a star. So our correct answer is B. So I'm going to fill it in like a circle. And if you got that right, absolutely, you've earned a star. If you didn't get it right, it's okay. That's why we practice. Just circle the correct answer now. So did it mean conceitedly mean that she's really tired?
No.
No. Does it mean that she's wanting to be friends?
No.
No. So the correct answer is B. All right, does someone want to read for us number 3? Adeline.
What is the passage mostly about?
Oh, there's that word. What was that word? Read it with me.
Passage.
Passage. What's that group of words? What we just read. What is that passage mostly about? So let's look at the choices. I always read through every single one. Who could read for me? A. What did A say? Amika?
A girl decides to be friendly to a new student even when others are not.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Is that kind of like our main idea, the main thing that's happening?
Yes.
Thumbs up if you think it's A.
Yeah.
You are correct. Good job. So I'm going to mark it in really nice and neat in a circle, just like you will on your CRTs tomorrow. My voice is on. But I always want to read the other choices, just in case. So we'll mark A. Let's look at everything else just in case. Who wants to read B for me? I'd love to have a volunteer. Emika, go ahead.
The cafeteria does not have enough seating for all of the students.
Is that what our story was mainly about?
No.
Saving. What? C. Who can read C for me? Go ahead, Kimberly. On number 3, sweetie. A girl has too many friends. Try that one. Is that what our story is mostly about?
No.
No. D. Who'd like to read D for me? How about Samuel?
A girl cannot find a place to sit in the cafeteria.
Is that what our story is mainly
No.
about? No. So it's not D either. Okay. Number 4. Listen as I read it aloud. In paragraph 1. Well, how do we know which one paragraph 1 is? Ooh, what makes a paragraph? What makes a paragraph, Julian?
Period. An indent.
An indent. When we see an indent, that's how we know it's a paragraph. So here's our first indent. Here's our second indent. This must be paragraph 1. In paragraph 1, the underlined, what's this word right here? Manuel?
That's phrase.
Phrase. When I was walking around, someone said, what is a phrase? Do we know what a phrase is? That's kind of a newer word.
Yeah.
I love learning all these new words. What is a phrase? The underlined phrase. What do you think, Jane?
I think it's, well, to me, I think it's not a poetry word, like,
So I think you're looking at,
phrase is like something, like, I don't know how to explain it.
some of these are hard to explain. I get that. If you want to call in a friend, Jane, you can. Maybe someone else has some words that you maybe can't think of right now.
Phrase is like a space between like the right like there, like the just I think it's a space between the like the space like
A space.
yeah
Okay.
like I can even like my years of like how they just do phrase.
Oh, interesting. Like it's one of these things. Like a choice, maybe. Samuel, I get why you would think that. I just had the best idea, you guys. The best idea. What did we learn about yesterday? Clues the authors used to solve tricky word. We've got a tricky word. Okay, so let's see if we can solve it. In paragraph 1, the underlined phrase rang like a hollow bell is an example of. Did the author give us the gist, like kind of just telling us what's happening in the story? Is there a synonym? Is there an antonym? Or did they explain it? So look for one of those clues. Listen to me read it. The underlined phrase rang like a hollow bell. What do you think a phrase is? What do you think a phrase might be?
I think it would be like the underlined word, like ring like a hollow bell, like maybe like a summary, synonym, or metaphor.
Now, the author right here is telling us that whatever this phrase is, it's underlined.
The phrase is like something underlined.
Do you see anything underlined up here?
Ring like a hollow bell.
So the author told us that the phrase is rang like a hollow bell. So you're telling me that rang like a hollow bell is like a synonym or a summary, and that makes sense. I'll just tell you, a phrase is a group of words put together. Mirror.
Yeah.
A phrase
A phrase
is a group of words
words
put together.
put together.
And mirror.
And
A phrase is not a sentence. So a sentence makes sense when you say, guess what? A phrase doesn't. Guess what?
what?
Rang like a hollow bell. Does that make sense? So it's not a sentence, it's a phrase. There's our new word. So a phrase is a chunk of words put together, but it's not a sentence. So here's our phrase. Rang like a hollow bell. Is that a summary?
No.
No. Somebody wanted that so then? That's not a rang like a hollow bell isn't. Oh, sorry. It's not a summary. Is it a synonym?
No.
Is it a simile?
Yeah.
Yeah, we found another simile. The correct answer is C. Okay. Correct answer is C. We'll just look at it yours. What? Ooh, this is a tricky word. Does anyone know what this word is right here? What? Jade? Genre. Say that word back to me. Genre. Genre. What genre, what type of writing is the choice? What type of writing do you think it is? Mika?
Personal narrative.
A personal narrative. Ooh. What is a personal narrative? Vita, what's a personal narrative?
Sorry.
Samuel?
It's like they're telling you about yourself, their life.
Yes, it's someone telling you about their life. It's a true story about someone's life. Is this a true story for someone?
Yeah.
Could be. Could it be about someone's life?
Yeah.
So, did it rhyme? Is it a poem?
No.
No. Is it a mystery? Is it that type of story? Suspenseful?
No.
No. And we can't see this last one, but the last one is a fairy tale.
No.
How can you tell if something's a fairy tale? What would maybe give you some hint about a fairy tale? Julian?
That it's fiction.
Fiction, right? Like I'm thinking back to the Cinderella, or the Mufaro's Daughters. Remember that African Cinderella that we read? And the prince became like a three-headed snake. What kind of story do you think that was? What genre was that? Think about the question that I asked before you answer. Ask a different one. When we talked about Mufaro's Daughters and there was a three-headed snake, what genre was that story?
It was a fairy tale.
That one was a fairy tale. Okay, now you have another question.
If the story had giants, that would be a nonfiction because they actually had giant fossils back then.
Oh.
Like some Russians, they kept it to themselves.
Sure. So maybe that would be like a history story. Sure, like a history nonfiction. If there was a giant written about today, like an actual huge giant, do you think that would be maybe more of a fairy tale?
Like, don't they like huge giants? They were only that like probably they're totally in trance.
Interesting. I'm glad that you paid attention to that, Angel. All right, boys and girls, what we practiced today is something that we will practice next week. We'll be doing this every week with shared reading just to get some practice on what your test will look like. Please, when I call your name, please put your paper, this paper right here, in my basket. Please put your clipboard in the clipboard basket. And Adeline, will you be in charge? You can be the first one to go. So you can make sure the clipboards go back nice and neat. We keep our things neat. When you get back to your smart spot, you can start playing Flash. Yep. Oh, Adeline, great job. Let's move this so everyone sees. I know this can be kind of tricky. Eyes over here. Watch where Adeline's putting it. That's where you're going to put your test questions. This goes back here. When you get back to your smart spot, you can play 1, 2, 3 Flash, either addition or multiplication with your partner. Mika, haven't called your name yet. Genesis, your group. Lucas, your group. Samuel, your group. Kimberly, your group. Damiana, your group. Oh, and here how everyone's going so tranquilly, so quietly. So peacefully. Nathan, your group. Michael, your group. Anika, your group. Go for it. Thanks for waiting and being patient. Emmanuel, your group. All right, when you get that good, Genesis and Ray locked it in. They're going to play 1, 2, 3, Flash.
Whoa. 0, 3, 1.